ॐ ह्रीं नमो अरिहन्ताणम् ॐ ह्रीं नमो सिद्धाणम् ॐ ह्रीं नमो आयर्याणम् ॐ ह्रीं नमो उमाच्छायाणम् ॐ ह्रीं नमो लोये सबसाहोणम् ऐसो पञ्चनमोकारो सव्यपाविपनासनो मङ्गलाणं च सवेसिं हवै मङ्गलम् परमं हवै मङ्गलम्. Today we will do the slok number 9th and the 10th slok. In the 9th slok, Acharya Manitung has discussed about the sun. He has compared. I think so. Someone is unmute. Please, can you mute yourself? So, in the 9th slok, Acharya Manitung compared to Lord Adinath from the sun, and in the 10th slok, Acharya Manitung compared to Lord Manitung to Lord Adinath by the lotus. So we already have done yesterday Astam Tava, so I will repeat once. Astam Tavastamanimaste Samaste Dosham Tvatsankadhapi Jagatam Duritani Hanti Dure Sahasra Kiranaha Kurute Prabhaiva पद्माकरेषु जलजानि विकासे भांजी. Now we will focus on one slok. Tava, O Lord, your samasta means all, dosam defects, asta devoid, stavan that is hymn singing, astam set aside, tvat about you, sankatha mere utterance, api even, jagatam of worldly beings, duritani sins, hanti destroys, sahasra kiranaha like sun, dure distant, prabha radiance, eva merely, Padmakareshu in the lakes, Jalajani lotuses, Vikase Bhanji blossom, Kurute makes. The whole slok defines that the brilliant sun is far away. It's very far away from the earth. It's very, very far away from the earth. Then also at dawn, its soft glows make the dropping lotus buds bloom. Similarly, let what happen? Similarly, let alone your stuti, which has the power to destroy all the sins. If I do the stuti of your Lord Adinath, Acharya Manitung is saying that I can destroy all the sins in my life. So the mere utterance of your name with devotion, if I take the name with very devotion, that destroys the sins of the mundane beings. Mundane beings means the people lay followers like you, Sansari Jeev, and purify them. So here Acharya Manitung is saying the sun is very far away from the earth. Still at its dawn, its soft glow make the dropping lotus buds blossom. Similarly, by doing your stuti, you have such a great power that we can destroy all the sins only by taking your name and can make our soul very pure. So here, Acharya Manitum is praising to the Lord is that he is even more magnanimous. Yet he would be satisfied with just speaking about him. He clarifies this using the metaphor of a sun. As I have said, Acharya Manitum has compared from the sun. He has compared Lord Adinath to the sun. It is the greatness of the sun that in spite of the vast distance between the earth and the sun, its single ray blossom thousands of lotuses. Just a single ray rises in the morning and thousands of lotuses gets blossom. Here Acharya Manita compares the glorification of Adinath to a sun and says, even your single ray will blossom the infinite hearts. So if we want to blossom our heart, what we should do? We should, as we get up early in the morning, what we should try to do? We should try to take the name of Lord Adinath. Only say Om Rishabhai Namaha. If a person do this chanting, he can become powerful like a sun. You can see when the sun comes, the people gets very hot. They put on the AC and a lot of the things they do because they feel hot. In the same way, if we do the chanting of Lord Adinath, we can be strong as the sun. So here he is saying that Lord Adinath, that I am praising you because you are such a great person. Next he said, what is the benefit of stuti? If I do the stuti of yours, what will be the benefit if I do the stuti? So he said, by doing your stuti, which eliminates the negativity, lot of the negativity will go away. It has the power to annihilate all kinds of impurity. So in Uttaradhyan Sutra, it is said, one of the Agam of Jain literature, it is said that one is benefited with right knowledge. One is benefited with right perception. The third, right conduct. And the fourth, enlightenment. So we call it quadruple of benefits. So we can get 4 benefits by doing your recitation, right knowledge. It means eradicating ignorance and attaining knowledge. We can get the perfect knowledge. What the knowledge we want, what the Lord has given the knowledge, we can get that knowledge. Right perception, eradicating of wrong perception. Some people of wrong perception are to consider impermanent world as permanent. Some people think that we in this world is permanent. We will never die. They believe that we should do the violence. If we do the violence, we will go to the mocks. So this all the wrong perception will go away, will be removed, and we will get the right perception that a person must be a spiritual person, a person must do the good work, he must praise the others. So always he will see, he will do the right perception. The third one is right conduct. He will always do the good conduct. He will always engage oneself in righteous acts, such as transforming anger into forgiveness. He will never get krodh, man, maya, lobh, no anger, no greed, no deceit, no ego. He will always transform the bad things into the good things. And the last one is enlightenment, the state of inner wisdom. Everyone wants the wisdom, the good wisdom. Enlightenment, we can also say to the moksha, that each person wants to go to the moksha. But how can I go to the moksha? You have to show me the path of the moksha. So here Acharya Manitung is saying, by taking your name, by doing your stuti, if I do Bhaktama Stotra daily, the four things I will get in my life. So the amalgamation of right knowledge, right perspective, and right conducts lead to enlightenment. If these three are right, we can get the fourth one very easily. So this Acharya Manitung's poetic presentation of the benefits is of praising to Lord Rishabh. So he tried to praise so much to the Lord Rishabh. Now it is said, why should one do the stuti? So here Acharya Manitung is saying, why should we try to do the encourage oneself in the stuti? So see, an expression of appreciation. We always say that we should try to appreciate others. So stuti is the manifestation of feeling of admiration. It is an indication of the development of consciousness that we are the conscious person. A common person knows, hears, and feels the qualities of others but cannot convey. You all know that mom has a lot of qualities, dad has a lot of qualities. Someone may think that my wife has a lot of qualities, husband has a lot of qualities, people has a lot of qualities, but they find it very difficult to express and appreciate others' quality. Generally, we see people are talkative by nature. They talk a lot and a lot. If two people sit together, what they will discuss? There will be a good gossip or there will be a bad gossip. So, people are talkative by nature. But when it comes to appreciate the qualities of others, they are tongue tied. They cannot appreciate others. So, it is a quite natural to praise a Tirthankar, Upadhyay, Acharya, and the most important is whom should we praise? We should praise everyone who is around us. Like for mom, you should praise to your mom. You can praise to the mom. You have cooked very good food for me. A lot of examples are there. You for the appreciation. So to acknowledge and admire the qualities of another person is also stuti. So to appreciate means to express someone's speciality, and this can be done by anybody. Even a small young kid also can do this one. So a common man can also be appreciated by a common man. So once upon a time it is said that when Acharya Tulsi was there, one of the Acharya of Jain, so he was giving a ceremony. So when he was giving a ceremony, which had a huge gathering, a poor auto driver was acknowledged and appreciated. Why he was appreciated? He was appreciated for his honesty. He had returned a bag full of expensive belongings left in his auto to its rightful owner. So here it is said that he was admired for his morality. So without the feeling of gratitude, stuti is not possible. When can we do the stuti? When we are filled with the gratitude. So without gratitude, it is not possible. So with stuti, this feeling is intensified. So it is said that who can do the stuti? The person who is very honest, that person can only do the stuti. Very common story is that, and I think so a lot of the kids and adults know maybe. See, honesty is the best policy. Once upon a time, there lived a poor woodcutter named Ram. He lived in a small hut on the outskirts of the village. Ram would go in the forest every day and chop trees for wood. He sold this wood to a rich merchant and earned his livelihood. Though poor he was, but the woodcutter was very sincere and honest in his work. One day, what happened? While chopping a tree near the river, the axe slipped out of his hand and fell into the river. The river was very deep, and since that was his only eggs, he worried. How would he cut wood and earn his livelihood now? He was just thinking, oh my God, what will happen now? He prayed to God for his eggs. He prayed so sincerely that God actually appeared. If we do the stuti of Lord with very sincerely, Lord Rishabh will also come into to us. So when he asked Ram what the problem was, he told him the whole episode. God then put his hand into the river and took out his silver axe. The woodcutter said it was not his. God continued looking and then found a golden axe. He said, no, no, no. The woodcutter refused to accept it too. What good is a golden axe to a poor woodcutter? He needed his iron axe. God finally smiled and pulled out his iron axe. The woodcutter was extremely happy and thanked God for finding his axe. God was very happy with his honesty. So he rewarded him by giving him the silver and the golden axe too. Now the woodcutter was overwhelmed and jumped with joy. So what does the moral of the story is? When the God will appear to us, the God will appear to us when we do the stuti with full devotion. Then only God will appear to us with full honesty if we do. So it is said that think right moral of the story is no matter what, we should always be honest in every situation. Each and every situation, we should be very honest because we all are the lay followers, and the lay followers can only make a mistake. It's not a big deal that we are making a mistake. So, no matter what, we should always be honest in every situation. Number two, any gain made through dishonesty is very short lived and will never keep you happy. We see that in this earth, how many years we will live? Think only of 100 years. A person can live 100 years, not more than 100 years. Some there are unique person, they can live more than 100 years also. But if we see generally, not more than 100 years. And in this 100 years, if we do lot and lot of the sins, what will happen when we die? We will go to the Narak, will become the animals, and see what's the situation will happen. There will be no happiness in our life. So for this short lived life, why should we make our life so worse? Number third, honesty is a virtue that is found in very few people, and one must nurture it. If you have the quality of virtue, if you have the quality of honesty, it's very good, you should increase it. But if the person has no quality of honesty, what he should do, he should try to cultivate the honest nature. So here Acharya Manitum, in the fourth sloka, in the ninth sloka, he is describing that the benefit of stuti is that I will be with the full honesty, I will praise you, Lord. With full honesty, I am praising you. And by praising you, I will get the right knowledge, right perception, right conduct. And if I get these three things, the moksha is, it's the reservation of the moksha. I will get the enlightenment. So, what are the benefits of this slope? See, devotion increases. We can increase our devotion. Number two, good qualities. A lot of the good qualities, if we want in our life, all the good qualities will come in our life. So, this is the benefit of the ninth slope. Now comes our 10th slope. नात्यद्भुतं भुवने भूषणे भूतनाथ भूते गुणे भुवि भवन्तमवेष्टुवन्तः तुल्या भवन्ति भवतो ननु तेन किं वा भूत्याश्रितं य इह नात्मसमं करोति. Focus on the one word. Bhuvane Bhushan. Oh, jewel of the three worlds. Three worlds means there are three worlds. Same. The upper lobe, the middle lobe, and the lower lobe. This is the three worlds. So he is saying, oh, jewel of the three worlds. Bhutenath, O Lord of the world, Bhuter Guner, by real virtues. O Lord, you have the real virtues. Bhavantam, your Abhistavantah, extollers. Bhuvi in this world like you. No one is in this world like you. We cannot compare you with anyone. Next, Bhavanti, it is said, Ati Udbhuta, which surprising, na is not. Otherwise, Nanu, certainly, ten of that Lord. Kim, what is the use? Ya iha, who in this world, Aristam, he is dependence, Bhutya is prosperity, At, at, Atmasamam, like himself, na karoti, does not make. So here Acharya Manitung is saying, O eminence of the world, O Lord of the living, it is not surprising that he who is engrossed in the praise of your infinite virtues becomes like you. It's not a great deal, he is saying, that if I praise you, Lord and the Lord of the infinite virtues will come with me. Because if I am praising you, you have lot of the good qualities. And this lot of the good qualities will come to me. Now, what is the use of serving such a master who does not allow his dependents to prosper just like him? So, but what you are allowing that we can also become like Lord Rishabh, like Lord Mahavira. But we have to follow the path of the Lord Rishabh and the Lord Mahavira. So if we follow the path of the Lord Rishabh and the Lord Mahavira, then we can become like you. So here it is saying that praise a virtue, gain the virtue. If I praise to the Lord Mahavira, it is said that we can become like the Lord Mahavira. So one question can be that how can one annihilate all flaws by praising others' qualities? If we praise others, what will happen? How can I gain that qualities which which is in the others? So here Acharya Manitung is saying that Acharya Manitung is saying one can annihilate all flaws by praising others' qualities. If you ponder over a certain quality, focus on its importance and repeatedly practice it. For example, if you see your younger sister, just you think, oh, he is making a mistake, she is making a mistake, that all the bad qualities will come to you. But if you focus on the good qualities of her, that good qualities will come to us. So it is said that if repeatedly I practice the good qualities, and if I see the good qualities, that will come to me. And this will gradually erase undesirable qualities within you. According to the theory of yoga, it is said to articulate virtues of a person is important principle of transmission of virtues. If we appreciates other virtues, that virtues will come to us. So there can be a lot of the thing. It is said that for example, it is said referring to Bahubali. If we see Bahubali, who was the Bahubali? Son of the Lord Rishabh, a symbol of power. If you think that you have to become a powerful person, just meditate 10 minutes or 5 minutes on Bahubali and you will become like a Bahubali. You will increase your strength and willpower. And by praising Shraman Mahavir, what will happen? One's tolerance will increase and a lot of the qualities, we can see in the Lord Mahavira that all qualities will come in us. Some person if thinks that I'm getting a lot of angry and not getting tolerant. So what at that time? Only do meditation of Shraman Mahavir for 5 minutes, and you think that I am a very tolerant person and I can tolerate everything. So here by praising Adinath, by Lord Rishabh, one can expand their inner knowledge and become spiritual. In a nutshell, it is said the prime quality of the person who you appreciates get transmitted within you. So we can say in the finally that whatever, if you want to gain the good qualities, you have to appreciate others. So Acharya Manitung said, it is an honor to be able to hail you, to appreciate you, whether or not I get the right to praise. I will be more than happy to simply speak about you. This is all that I wish. So he is saying that if I take your name also, if I do Bhaktamar Stotra, also all of them are saying, recite Bhaktamar Stotra, learn Bhaktamar Stotra, and pronunciation also must be very perfect. Why it is said that? It is said because if we speak the right speech, it annihilates the sin, it destroys our sins. So talking is a strong human instinct. Everyone likes the talking. If I say, please keep quiet for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, it's very difficult. If you will not talk also, we'll move from here to there, from here to there. It's very difficult to sit for 1 hour also. So here Acharya Manitung is saying that talking is a strong human instinct. To remain quiet is a very difficult task. So it is said that when two people meet, they cannot remain silent. Their talks are unending. Leave aside humans, even when two birds meet, they start twittering in their own language. Everyone enjoys conversation. So Acharya Manitung remarkably proclaims, Lord, the talk of your praises is capable of destroying all the sins. If I only talk for you also, then also my sins will destroy. It is said in the Vitaraga Stotra is one there, Lord, may my days pass in being immersed in your praising. May my whole day, it's that how much I can praise you. So it is said that a type of talk. What talk we should do? We should always try to talk the good words. A type of talk, only what Lord Mahavira has said. A kind of talk which makes detachment from the world. A type of talk which makes our soul more purer and purer. That type of talk a person should do. But what a person is doing, you're not talking whole day. Just ponder yourself and think. Whole day, what talk I am talking? Am I talking which is good for my soul, which is making my soul pure? That talk I am talking, or which is making my soul impure? That talk I am talking. People talk of four things specially. Number one, he talks of others' conversation, what is not good for them, like abusive conversation, not good conversation. That time, second talk they do conversation related to various worldwide subjects. What is happening in India? What is happening in America? Always turning on the news channel and saying what's happening in different world. Bhakta Katha just said conversation related to food. Or what should I make today in the morning, afternoon, evening? What should I eat? This talk they are doing. Conversation related to administration. In this world, what politics leaders are doing, what is right, what is wrong. These four talk only they are talking. And such non-spiritual talks do not develop qualities. If we want to develop inner qualities in ourselves, what we should do? We should try to avoid these four types of talk. So a person staying at the sensory level indulges in such activities. Such a person belongs to the category of animal kingdom, it is said, and is the least developed. They cannot develop their personality. So if a person wants to become a great person, a big person, they should try to avoid this four types of talks. They should always try to make their how much spiritually we can become, and we can make our soul more purer and purer. So Acharya Manitum in this 10th slok he said that Lord, I will appreciate you only. So here it is said that if I praise you, if I praise a virtue, I will gain the virtue. So why he is saying that in this slok, the benefits of this slok is what? Making someone like oneself. As I have said before, that Lord, who is Acharya Manitum said, why you are great person? Because you are great person, you are making like me, like yourself, like me only he is making. So making someone like oneself. So there's a beautiful story is there in Jain Agam. It is said that Gautam Swami was the first disciple of Lord Mahavira. I think so every one of you who have heard the name of Gautam Swami, right? Good. So he had a lot of affection for the Lord, and he used to love to the Lord. He could not live without the Lord. One day, single day also, he could not live without the Lord. Like, for example, now you all, you cannot live without your mom and dad. In the same way, Gautam Swami could not live. He could not bear to be separate from the Lord. When the Lord realized that the final moment before his liberation was approaching, he made a plan for Gautam Swami in his mind. But he did not express to the Gautam Swami. He gave a special directive to Gautam Swami to go to the neighboring town and preach to a devotee. Now Bhagwan, Lord Mahavira gave the direction to him. Now he thought, I have to go, but he said, no, I don't want to go. Just in the mind, but he was so devoted to the Lord that he said, I will go. Now you see, he left at once to go to the devotee's house full of happiness. He must have been halfway through his journey when he heard the divine message from the heavens that Bhagwan Mahavir had attained liberation, nirvana. Upon hearing this, Gautam Swami was deeply grief stricken. He felt so hurted, thinking that even though the Lord knew that his final moment was approaching, he still sent me away from him. Why did he do that to me? Why? Why he was asking? Why he is doing to me like that? He started crying. And at that time, Gautam Swami started thinking. He went into the deep in his thought, his attention divert from Lord onto himself. He came back to his senses. Oh dear, I have made a mistake, he said. How could I have had a negative thoughts for the Lord? I have attachment for the Lord, but he is absolutely free from the worldly attachment. He has gone to the moksha. The Lord does not have attachment or aversion towards anyone. He is full of compassion, totally detached. As he began to visualize the state of absolute detachment of the Lord, his veils of ignorance began to dissolve. And the moment complete detachment came into his vision, he attained the Kevalgyan. As the purity increases, he got the Kevalgyan, the absolute knowledge. So a teacher will definitely take his student to whatever stage he has achieved himself. So that's why it is said that Lord Mahavira or Lord Rishabh, Acharya Mantung is saying that he will also make like them himself. Whatever Lord Mahavira or Rishabh has attained, the Acharya Manitum also will become like that only. So making someone like oneself. Now the life lessons. As we have discussed, 9th slok and the 10th slok today. We always learn the life lessons. Why is the life lessons important for our life? This class is only for the learning Bhaktamar Stotra. Why should we learn all this thing? It is now the biggest life lesson is what today we have learned is that how much we can appreciate others. As much as we will appreciate others, all the good qualities will imbibe in us. All the good qualities will come in it us. So we have discussed today about the two things. In the first, it is compared to the sun, and the second one is to the lotus. As the sun rays comes, the lotus becomes blossom. So here what we can see lesson 1 from the sun, what we can learn. Where there is light, there are shadows. The first lesson is, it is said that where there is light, there are shadows. It is the sun that casts the shadows. We see there is an important life lesson is here in our lives. Often we see the shadows and think there is no sun or no hope left for us. The reality is that there will be shadows when there is light present. When you find shadows in your life, don't give up on hope. What you can do? You can recite the ninth sloka. Whenever you feel that, oh, I'm not feeling good, no one is helping me, there are a lot of difficulties in my life. Just try to recite the ninth sloka and all the difficulties will go away. Realize that those shadows are only there because there is hope for you. Look beyond the shadows to see the light, and that light is light of hope. Whenever any difficulties come, just think of the Lord Mahavira. That Lord Mahavira has faced a lot and a lot of the difficulties. If you have read or listened the story of Lord Mahavira, you will know that how much difficult life Lord Mahavira, how many people have tortured to him. Just read it and you will realize. So it is said that whenever you feel any difficulties, just think of Lord Mahavira and your difficulty will go away. Second life lesson. Without the sun, there is no life. We cannot live one day also without sun. So it is a well-known fact that without the sun, there is no life. If the sun stopped shining, our life would end. The same thing applies to hope. Without hope, there cannot be life. Hope is like the rays of the sun. It fosters life, it makes us grow, it keeps us warm, and it keeps us alive. As long as we live, hope is there for you. So it is said that keep the hope always with you. Whenever you see that I'm not feeling good, just recite the number 9 sloka. And the last one is, the sun is there even when it is not shining. Sometimes we see there is a cloudy. So it is said the most important lesson we can learn is that the sun is always there. Even though we don't see it shining, sometimes clouds pass over, blocking it from view, yet we still know it is there. The sun sinks away in the evenings and the darkness falls. However, the sun is still there. Hope once again is just like the sun. Even when we cannot see it hope is still there. One young lady in the middle of a great tragedy realized this great truth. Her name was, he said that Annie Frank, when faced with adversity, he was feeling very adversity. She said this to say, I believe in the sun even when it is not shining. So, this is a lesson we all must learn to hope, even when it seems we cannot see a reason to hope. Let hope become the very center of your universe, giving your life order and meaning. So, here Acharya Manitung is saying that I am praising you, I have a hope that one day I will become like you. That's why I am praising you. So, I am reciting the so I am writing the Bhaktamar Stotra for you. So if we recite daily Bhaktamar Stotra, our all difficulties, all problems will go away and we can gain the good things. The second life lesson from the lotus. What we can learn from the lotus? See, lotus is the only flower that teaches us where we reach is important, not where we came from. So lotus starts its life from a muddy water. and emerge out as a beautiful flower. You all have seen growing the lotus. If you go and see the lotus, how it's grown in the muddy water. Similarly, we need to be like lotus and concentrate on our destination rather than on our present situations. So it is saying that we should be non-attachment like Gautam Swami. What Gautam Swami thought? Oh my God, what Lord Mahavira has done to me. He knew that I am going. Then also he said, he gave me this direction, but I must be non-attachment and pure. If there is non-attachment and purity, we can go to the nirvana and can become to and go to the moksha. So this world, it is said that how much good things, how much purity we can gain in our life. So these are the life lessons we can learn from this Bhattambar Stotra, the ninth and the 10th slok. Om Arham. So we have learned today the two slok, ninth and the 10th slok. And now I would like to say all the kids that today I would like to ask to the kids was that today what you have learned from the ninth slok, just you can raise your hands so that I can know that how much you have learned. Okay, from the ninth